The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hi everybody and welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel and podcast. We are here with another match reaction as Newcastle United get two back-to-back home victories. The first we've already covered, the demolition of Man United, but we'll walk straight back into another game at St James's Park against Crystal Palace. We went looking for number 5 this time and we got it. I am your host Chris, joined by Matty, Andy and Ben on this one. And lads, I just want to address something straight away. And I think this podcast and this reaction, I think we're heavily going to be talking about Jacob Murphy in this one. Because what an absolute run of form that he is on at the moment. And Matty, I'm going to start with you. He's involved straight away from that first whistle, mate. And you can tell that he's up for the game. We've always said that. I think it's normally you, that is this, Matty, that you can normally tell which Newcastle United you're going to get within the first 5-10 minutes of a football game. The first minute, Jacob Murphy was raring to go, and he puts a great ball into the box, and it just slightly misses. I think it's Joe Linton at the back stick, and you're thinking, right, we're up for this today, and we certainly were, mate.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that right side as well. We've been talking a lot about the left side in recent weeks, given the injuries we had there and how good the replacements have been. But yeah, Jacob Murphy's been something else this season, something else entirely. I mean, you've got to get your head checked if you're still giving him stick, at least for this season anyway, just in isolation. Yeah, you could tell that he was up for it. He was running at players. I think that's the difference. He wasn't really cutting back. He was on his bike straight away, making these runs on the inside and the outside for Kieran Trippier. He puts one in again for Alexander Isak, who very, very good save by Dean Henderson. And I thought I was just waiting for the net to ripple. And yeah, he gets a little touch of the Tonalis for his goal. For me, I mean, looking back, his eyes are only looking in one place. So I'd probably be more inclined to think that was a shot more than Tonali's. Maybe there's still a percentage debate there, like Tonali did. Maybe more 80-20 for Jacob Murphy. But even after that, there's that ball for the share goal, absolutely gorgeous. And it was a theme throughout the night. Anytime he got a chance to just whip one in or just hit it, he was. And I think that's something that, as fans, we've been screaming out for. I think he's one of those players that, if he thinks about it a bit too much, he sometimes has a tendency to mess things up. But this time he just looked so dangerous, and he just gave us that really nice bit of balance with, Harvey Barnes on the left and the form that he's in, to have Jacob Murphy, both your wingers scoring, close to both getting assists. But the form that Jacob Murphy is scintillating. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if he's 1 or 2 goals away now from the fabled, double figures in both columns for goals and assists just in the league. I think he's got 13, 14 assists in all games, and I think 8 or 9 goals in the league. So that's absolutely fantastic. What a return for a player that, people just wanted out of the club. People wanted replacement, saying he wasn't good enough. And look,
people said we signed the wrong brother.
Yeah, exactly. But don't get me wrong, I'm not going to just retcon history here. That he has had very tough seasons in the past, sort of symptomatic of poor teams. And as we've got better, his lack of quality or natural ability with the ball at his feet has been highlighted a little bit when he's had such good players around him. However, his work ethic and his enthusiasm and the odd time to be able to just smash his laces through one is just can't go underappreciated. So yeah, just in this, especially in this season in isolation, well done, Jacob Murphy, because people had written him off recently, and I'm glad that he's putting the doubters wrong.
Summed it up perfectly, mate. I think we're going to stand it there. Jacob Murphy,
absolutely
nail on the head there, mate. I'm going to go straight back to the first goal because you said you could possibly say that it's still a doubt in your mind whether that's a shot or a cross. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt there. Like, I'm saying that's a shot. He gets interviewed afterwards, and he comes out and he says that when he's getting interviewed, he mentions that he looked up and he saw the angle from the defender. There wasn't much chance and much opportunity to put the ball in the box, so he just hit at it. And what he said, something like the line was, "When the juice is flowing," or something like that. I absolutely love him. Me, like he's like. Do you know what it is? And Matt, you've mentioned tough seasons that he's had. Andy, I think we're going to have to even just look at this season. There's tough games this season that he's had, even when he struggled through games and still managed to grab an assist or even a goal in those difficult moments. And it just shows you the dedication and the commitment that he has to the football club and just constantly going again. It doesn't let it get on top of him. He's always got that big smile on his face, and he's just raring to go for the next one. Whether or not the last game was good on his behalf, he's always going to give you 100% and more.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we all love him to bits. I mean, even if he wasn't as smiley and positive as he was, his output is just outrageous. I mean, how many wingers have we had in the past that we've complained that there's no end product? It's like that lazy criticism you give forward players everywhere, no end product, no end product. And I mean, the stats just speak for themselves. It's ridiculous. I'd love to have an insight on the coaching that Howe has done with him since he's come in, because he was very much in the mold of, legacy player that probably needs to be out once we start signing some proper players. We're also talking about signing right wingers and things like that. But I mean, if we sign someone like Mbeumo, is he even going to get him ahead of him? I mean, it's ridiculous. But he really just epitomises everything that we love about this Newcastle team: work ethic, positivity, team spirit, really getting involved with the fans, really understanding what it means to fans. Obviously, it helps that he's a Newcastle fan, but it's just a breath of fresh air, and I think that permeates through the whole team. I mean, even when you look at someone like Asula, who isn't getting any game time, and he's buzzing, dancing around, celebrating with everyone just as much as him. And we know that the club's got this sort of leadership structure where we've got like Bruno and Wilson as like the proper, and Trippier as like the proper leaders, but then someone like Murphy, who's potentially going to be someone on the bench next season. He must just be a great player for like new signings coming in. You know what I mean? Just like that positive player. I don't know if I'm. Do you know what I mean?
No, I was sat last night where after the match, last time about Jacob, I think she's got a bit of a soft spot for Jacob Murphy, to be fair. But she starts mentioning, and I was like, I just want him to be me mate. I just want him to be me mate. Like, forget about football. Like, he just seems like a decent kid, doesn't he? Well, kid, he's not even a kid. He's like a decent bloke.
Yeah, that's it. I just feel like it must just be such a class environment. Obviously, we talked after the Man United game about how that's been such a toxic environment for people like Rashford, and then all the young'uns coming in at the signing. Like, people must look at us and think, I want to be part of that. I want to be mates with all these lot. I mean, they probably want to join just because they don't want to be on the opposite side of that midfield. They'd probably just rather be
true. Yeah.
Probably rather just be on our side. But you just epitomises everything that we love about this team. This is 100% the best team in my lifetime and my favourite team, the whole bunch of them. I just love every single one of them.
Yeah. Sticking with Jacob Murphy, Ben, just to highlight what Matty's stats were saying. So 29 Premier League games that he's had this season, 8 goals, 11 assists. And I saw something, I can't remember where it was, I saw something on a website earlier on that said his goal involvement, something like 33% or something throughout this season, which is phenomenal stats that he's putting out.
It's ridiculous. It's something as well, like, he gives us something totally different from everybody else. The fact that he's right-footed and playing on the right-hand side. And Andy was mentioning like Mbeumo and stuff, and potentially looking at him next year, and all the other players that we're being linked with, who the club are clearly looking at, are all like left-footed players playing on the right-hand side. I do wonder sometimes actually having somebody who's right-footed opens the pitch up a little bit forward. Like, how much of a difference that makes, like, especially even for Isak. Like, you think of the runs he makes, he wants the ball early, and Murphy gives you that, doesn't he? I mean, it must have only been the first 5 minutes. He put a great cross in for Murphy, for Isak, and Isak heads it just over the bar. Like, I think it gives us something totally different. Like, it's a total unique thing, especially with Trips as well. The two of them seem to play really well together. But you don't really see Trippier across the ball much now. He just gets the ball, gives it to Murphy, and then Murphy will either have a go or he'll get that ball in nice and early. I just think he makes such a huge, huge, huge difference. And his attitude's class, isn't it? I always think about when we were first playing the Champions League against AC Milan, and the music came on, and his just little face lights up. He's just so happy that he's playing for Newcastle in the Champions League. And that just like epitomised him for me. He's just such a positive, happy guy, really. Love him. I don't think you can't not love him at the moment. You can tell he's just loving his football as well.
Well, we'll have quite a bit of a debate around club legends and club cult heroes and so on and so on. Matty, I'm not going to say Jacob Murphy's a legend or anything here. I'm not going to pick on this. he's defined himself as a true cult hero in Newcastle United history right now. Like, I think looking back in 20 years' time, you go, remember Jacob Murphy? I think he's going to be one of those. And every time you think of him, be a big smile on your face, mate.
Well, I think if you're not a miserable old fart or something like that, like I think, yeah, given what we've achieved this season and what we have a chance of achieving further and his contributions to it, it's a bit like how we're going to look back on Miguel Almiron. I think Miguel Almiron, I'll always remember him for that season where we qualified for the Champions League and then his subsequent goal in the Champions League the next season. There were down points where he wasn't doing anything, and likewise with Jacob Murphy. But it's like I said, if you're not miserable, you know, in years to come, decades to come, we'll look back on him fondly. Hard working player. Remember when he scored that goal? Remember when he did that? Remember when he did this? And I think, you know, he is, especially this season, he's writing his old little catalogue of moments. And one mention I will say is I've noticed these things is, you know, he has been sort of victim of a lot of abuse from the stands sometimes. And I still think when he plays well, or when I remember one time, I can't remember what game it was, I sit in the leaders and he was coming down the right and he went across it and it ended up going out for a goal kick or something. And he like sort of gestured at someone in the leaders end because they were obviously stood up and just giving him shit. And it's like, what are you doing? And I still feel like he's got that in him, this point to prove that as much as he knows that 95% of the fan base are behind him, there's that 5% that he wants to give a little dig back to, because we've seen him give it the Jacob Murphy on me back, you know, sort of celebration and sort of just smile at people in the crowd. And I just have this feeling that he knows where them pockets of people are. And he just likes to sort of smile at them and just be like, yeah, it was me again. Like, it was me again. So I just
he probably feels like he has a point to prove until we actually sing his chant.
Yeah.
Literally every other player is getting song sang, and he's been one of our best players. But like, just on about the numbers, like we talk about his numbers, but like he's not like padding his stats. They're all important things he's doing. Like obviously assist in the cup final, goals, you know, in the semi-final, setting up goals in the semi-final. It's not like he's just doing it against the minnows. Although having said that, he has just, you know, the game we're just talking about. You could argue that was Stad Patty a bit.
Well, he as well. I mean, people might point to, and there would be idiots to do so. Like, you know, it's easy when you've got someone like Alexander Isak on the end of all your assists. I think he's probably the vast majority of those 13 assists are Isak goals, because there's that silly stat about them contributing to each other's goals. Because even Isak, I think, is assisted Murphy a couple of times this season.
It's like the Harry Kane and Son partnership, isn't it?
Exactly. Just very heavy on the Murphy assists, but they're not like the goals where it's like Jacob Murphy lays it off to Isak, he beats two players, puts it in the top corner where it's barely an assist. A lot of these assists are great balls into the box. Like, you know, the ball that he put in for Isak in the first half evidenced that. I know it didn't lead to a goal, but just they've got that sort of connection where he's like, if I just put it in this area, I know. And to be fair, I saw a montage on Instagram, and some of the other assists he's got like really nice threaded passes through midfield when he's came in sort of centre, when like underlapped Trippier and played in someone in on goal. So yeah, you know, let's give Jacob Murphy his flowers. Let's hope that after all this talk, he doesn't have a stinker on Saturday.
And we'll jump back to the game itself. So we've already talked about the opening goal there, the Jacob Murphy absolute thunder bastard of a shot that takes it well past the keeper, and it takes the keeper's hands off. And the next one has been a bit of a talking point in our WhatsApp group, boys. And apparently it doesn't matter. We're not allowed to talk about it. Like I said, doesn't matter, lads. But the next goal is in fact, no, it's not a goal. Sorry, the next talking point that we're going to talk about is the penalty shout, and obviously which is just given a penalty eventually. But you were in the stands. I'm going to come to you, Andy. You were in the stands, and you said when the replay got shown on the screen in the Leazes end that there was quite a murmur in St James's Park, and people weren't happy with the referee's decision.
People were absolutely raging. Although I have an amazing angle of the actual penalty itself and being in front of me, but I sit right under the screen, so we all try and crank our necks up to look, but it's all skewed. So I think even if Pope had come out and Kung Fu kicked him in the head, we all would have said that's never a penalty in a million years. I know you think I had me blinkers on yesterday. I still don't think it's a clear and obvious error, and that he should be spent. I mean, it's two different things. Whether you think it's a penalty or not, I actually think it's irrelevant, because the whole point of VAR is that you're supposed to, if it was supposed to be a clear and obvious error. I don't even think Palace were appealing for it. But
I agree.
We were all a bit like, well, Chris Richards stayed down, and we were all obviously giving it giving him a bit of grief for staying down because we were actually on a bit of a break and he stopped for a head injury. So I presume that he was just faking it, but then it turns out Pope had like elbowed him in the head. And then I think it was just the delay. It was just kind of like, I cannot believe this. They're looking at it, and then obviously going to the screen. And obviously, you know, when they go to the screen, that usually means they're going to change their mind because the refs don't think for themselves. So the longer and longer it went on, I think we were all just ready just to complain about something. So I don't even think it would have mattered whether it was a penalty. So yeah, people were pretty furious. I still think it's really soft. I think Pope does get the ball in a way, not very cleanly, but he touches it.
I like, you know what it's like? This is a bit of a split. Like those that are watching and listen, this is a bit of a split at the minute in the Gallagher Shots WhatsApp group. Is that it's not necessarily 50-50. I think there's probably a couple more swaying to the fact that Nick Pope doesn't touch it at all in regards to the ball. I think, Andy, last night you said he punches it. I'm still yet. I can see the fist. I can't see the punch. Like I can see the attempt. And I think the camera angles that we see, it is very hard to judge it because Joe Linton's also up there challenging from the ball, and I think it's very hard to see if that the tiniest of glances of touches comes off Joe Linton or Nick Pope. But at the end of the day, I 100% back what you're saying in regards to the whole clear and obvious thing, because the referee's made his decision. He hasn't awarded a penalty there. Then it takes it said it was 7 minutes stop time, but it felt like it felt like there was 7 minutes just for that one moment. Never mind anything else which had happened. And the fact that they kept on looking over and over again to see if Nick Pope had made contact with the ball. And they said it on commentary, then you think, well, it doesn't really make a difference if he's made contact or not. He clatters a player, so that's has to be a penalty at the end of the day. That's what my way of thinking was. But I still don't think it's clear and obvious. I don't think that the referees had an absolute stinker there. But I think Bennett just goes back to the whole thing of how they didn't want to re-referee games, and we're back in the situation where they're doing it every single game.
Yeah, it's just, there's no way you can look at that and think it is a clear and obvious decision for me. Like, when I was on the ground, to be honest, I'm probably a bit different from Andy. I thought it was like a penalty. And then when I saw it at half time, when I went to the bar and I saw he touched the ball, I was fuming. Because
someone touched the ball, still convinced.
Yeah, I looked at yours and I was like, yeah, he touches the ball for me. So as a keeper, if you come out for a cross, you're going to make contact with other people around you. It's physically impossible, not in a crowded area. He gets some of the ball for me, and then he collides with Richards. But then the referee, like, obviously VAR watched it for I don't know however many minutes. And then once they go over the big screen, it'd be so refreshing if they just actually stuck with the original decision and say, actually, well, like, yeah, I think he actually made contact with the ball.
I think it's happened once or twice, Ben, since it came in.
Michael Oliver's the only person. I think the only person to do it.
And since then, they don't. It's just like, it's clearly re-refereeing the games, isn't it? I don't know how else you could change it from saying that, really, to be fair. But it was, he gives it, and then you're thinking, oh, God, get them back into the game and stuff. And it's great from Pope. Like, honestly, as much as a mistake it was for the actual pen itself. And regardless if he gets the ball or not, he shouldn't probably be coming for that. Like,
that's the only clear and obvious thing about this. The only clear and obvious thing is Pope should not have really went for that.
No, it isn't.
But it's sorry, I derailed your point there. But that's totally what stuck in my head. Yeah, he shouldn't have came for it, but it's not a penalty.
No, like he shouldn't. Like, and if he does, his starting position was really poor. He should have been a couple of yards off his line because we played a really high line. I think because they're such a big team. Like, they're ridiculous as set players this year. I think they're just behind Arsenal for like goals scored. So we obviously set up to play a really high line. They've got three big centre halves there. Pope should be a little bit further forward because Eze's not going to score from 50 yards out. And then he comes for it. And the thing is, he doesn't get anywhere near it at its highest point. He like kind of punches in front of his own face. It's not as if he's coming to take the ball like at his highest area. And then he clatters into him. And then Eze steps up, and just great from Pope. I don't understand, like, as a keeper, so many players do that. I mean, Schar does it for us when he takes penalties. The whole stuttered run up. And you see so many goalkeepers, like David Raya for Arsenal. He goes about 3 seconds before the ball's actually kicked. Like, brilliant. He waits, and if you watch, just before Eze steps up to hit the penalty, he shimmies one way.
He's right, doesn't he?
He thinks he's going to roll in the corner. Just doesn't totally. Brilliant. I think he did it with Tony as well, didn't he? I think Tony ran on this really long streak of penalties where he used to do that same thing, that like stutter step, and then just wait and put the ball in the corner. And he hadn't missed a penalty for some like 12, 13 pens. Pope stepped up and did exactly the same thing again against him, made a really good save. I mean, I know people are saying he's got to save it, he rolled it, but he could have just as easy stepped the other way. And how many times do you say it looks great and it rolls in the other corner? Everybody says what a great penalty it was. So I was pleased for Pope because he does get a fair bit of stick, and some of it rightly so, to be fair, at the moment. But good. Yeah, that was a changing point in the game, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Can I just say as well?
It was justice for the decision.
Yeah, on the Pope thing.
I'm not having it.
On the Pope thing, I'm totally in Andy's camp, by the way. I'm the Liz, and I was part of
the Pope fan club over here. Of course he is.
Hang on a second, because I've got to touch on that as well. Because basically, I've always been Nick Pope's biggest advocate. Like, I absolutely love him. But then, obviously, when he got injured and Dubravka came in, it really highlighted how it can sort of change our approaches to certain games and the way we recycle the ball. However, again, Nick Pope in recent games, Cup final included, shows that when he's called upon and he needs to make that save, he doesn't half make that save. And he's really good at sweeping things up, as well as, even though it's a bit messy, you know, the way he comes out and it's like, right, just get the ball away, cut between the defence and the edge of the box.
Off his line, like
very quick off his line.
Saw it a couple of times.
Sometimes a bit too quick off his line, as he showed last night. But I mean, like I said, personally, I don't think it's a penalty. I think that happens 9-10 times in a weekend. You see a keeper come out and clears, barely get a fist on it, and he's smashed his hip into someone's head. We've seen them not given plenty of times. We've seen it worse ones than that not get given and get reviewed and subsequently not be given. I appreciate we could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but yes, we are re-refereeing games now. It's like they were desperate for him to give it, showing that one angle over and over again instead of different angles. Really knocks me off, because there's one angle with more front on one, it's where it looks a little bit more innocent for Pope, but they're showing that other one really slow, and it really winds me up. And again, it's not clear and obvious if it's going to take you 3 to 4, 5 minutes to make the decision. Simple as it should be. Like cricket, if it's a tight one, what happened? What did you give on the pitch? Then it's that. Then, like, we shouldn't be overturning this. I have to mention as well. Again, you're saying I'm the biggest Nick Pope fan in the world. I won't swear, but I was saying my piece about Nick Pope when the penalty got given. I was like, "Nice one, Nick. You this," and then this geezer next to me started looking at his like missus and being dead smug, going, "Oh, Martin Dubravka," and I was like, and then. I looked up at the screen, saw the replay, and joined in with the absolute outrage, and was like, "Okay!" And I was like shouting, "I take it back, Nick! I take it back!" And then the penalty gets taken. We'll talk about what unfolded after, and we've talked about how bad the Eze penalty was, but he still.
I want to focus a little bit more on the penalty, to be fair, because Eze is a player that a lot of Newcastle fans have been liking the look of it and thinking he could do his job.
Player.
Yeah, he is a great player. He absolutely stunk the place out yesterday, mate. But he has had a great season. He's a great player. The penalty. So I get the whole stuttered run up and how you can slow your pace down, because Tony used to do it to perfection. Isak does it slightly, not as intense as that, but he does do it slightly. I think he stops.
I agree.
He
stopped, and you meant to get the penalty took off you for that.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought. I thought, so if he stops, then just a free kick awarded to Newcastle at that point, because he stops like stone cold dead. Like, he's just like, nah, just stopping.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, just before he hits it as well. Like, he totally stops. You just see a bit of fear really in his face that, oh, Pope's not dove anywhere here. Like, what do I do next? And then he just kind of stops a second and then just rolls it, doesn't he?
But the penalty miss, Andy, it just sums up the rest of Crystal Palace's game, because straight afterwards, within, I think it was 1 minute, 40 seconds or something ridiculous like that, Harvey Barnes goes on a run down that left-hand side and does a lovely little step over to get an extra couple of inches ahead of the defender and just smashes that into the back of the net. And you're thinking, right, 2-0 up now. We're absolutely... In fact, no, that wasn't. That was the third, sorry. The next one was Harvey Barnes. Yeah. Harvey Barnes, once again, running down that left-hand side. And he smashes that across box, looking for the cross. And it is Gay who is on the score sheet once again for Newcastle United, the second time this season. He is currently Newcastle's 9th top goal scorer for the season, boys.
What a legend. I mean, we could get used to him scoring at St James's Park if you believe all the rumours from January.
Chris, you were having a go at Mitchell early doors, right? I'm just going to out you as this guy who was having a go at Mitchell, because we didn't get that. I was director of football. You were having a little go at him. The guy's a genius. He didn't spend any money on Marquee, and he scored 2 goals for Newcastle United the following season. Absolutely amazing player.
I think
Amazing.
Scott put it in the group. It's the best 75 million quid we've never spent.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, no, it's looking like a good bit of business not getting him. But yeah, I mean, he could do now about it. To be fair, Barnes just we looked so dangerous on the break the entire game. It was very similar to the Man United game, just so clinical. It was at that point where Isak had, I think, missed a chance already, and he thought he was ready for another tap in. And you saw when it went in, he was kind of like throwing his arms up as if like, oh, why is it not me? We've scored like 30 goals since the final. I've not scored any of them. But in those positions with Barnes now, I feel so confident that he's going to produce something. Obviously, jumping ahead, his second goal, he buries it. But even for that one, in that position, I just think this is a goal, this. And when it just kind of floated in, it was a bit of an anticlimax that it was obviously an own goal. But yeah, the atmosphere was class after obviously the rage for the disgraceful penalty decision, and then the shambolic penalty and the save, and then going up the other end and scoring. That was a proper top tier St James's atmosphere when that went in. And it just felt like the game was over at that point. We're just having these little bursts in games where we just completely overwhelm teams, and that was another one of them.
It was. So I'm going to go on to the next goal, which I started talking about before. So Harvey Barnes, that lovely little step over that he does. So I couldn't go to the game last night, so I watched it at home. And when Harvey Barnes gets the ball and he's running towards goal and he's on the edge of the box, the commentator goes, right, what can you do with it, Harvey? And he does that little step over. It's a tiniest step that gets a tiniest little extra yard on the defender, then he just absolutely lashes at it. And he's got, we'll talk about the wingers and Jacob Murphy. We know Jacob Murphy's got a fantastic hit and he can put some power in a shot. And you can't argue towards Gordon as well. But now we've got throwing Harvey Barnes in the mix and how he's ending this season. He's getting numbers now as well. So what an absolute great headache to have for the likes of Eddie Howe, Jason Tyndall, that you've got three wingers there that can find the back of the net.
I tell you what, if I would want one person to go through on goal out of the whole club, I'd pick Barnes, the head and shoulders above everybody else. His finishing's just brilliant. I never think he's going to miss. Like every time he goes through on goal, you just expect him to score. Left or right foot as well. Like it's a great finish, just pulls it away and then bang the back of the net. And he's just, every time he goes through, I expect him to score. The thing is, he can score that goal or he can score the goal where he's outside the box and he'll bend one in from 25 yards as well. Like brilliant, really good conundrum. You've got him or Gordon. You can probably just see Gordon every time he scores, thinking, like that cup game now is getting worse and worse for him, really. Because how can you, even if Barnes doesn't have a good game on Saturday, like you can't really take him out of the team, really, can you? You've got to give him a bit of a run. Like his figures are absolutely phenomenal. I think sometimes I forget that he scored 17 goals for Leicester in a season, and you wonder if he had played all season for us, he'd have probably got similar to those figures again, like this year. He's missed like a big chunk of this season out when you think about it. He's just, different class, great finish. I didn't know what he was going to do. I thought he's going to square it to Isak when he goes through and he just stands the defender up. And once he gets that half a yard, he does that little lollipop, steps the ball to the left and then just smashes it across goal. Brilliant finish, like really good. You can tell like he's another one at the moment. He just looks like he's loving his football. He looks so happy. He looks like every time he goes on the pitch, he just expects to score. A bit like Murphy, really. I think he said after the game, like, you know, everybody's just flying or fizzing, as he said. Like, everybody is. When you look at them, they just look on top of the game, really. He's going to be pushing for the England squad as well now, I think. Like him, honestly, it sounds crazy, but you could look at him, Murphy, and probably feel a little bit disappointed if you don't get in the next England squad because they're in really good form.
Just put me in black and white stripes, Ben.
Yeah, you could do. Nuts when you think, well, like, if you put Barnes ahead of Gordon in the England squad now on form, if you're Tuchel, like there's a few question marks there. But for us, no, I think it's great to see. That's the thing. I think I said this in our group actually. I think going forward with us, I think we're always a little bit guilty of looking at players and thinking, like this should be with first 11, and that's what we should be playing every week. And if somebody gets taken out of the team, it's a little bit of a case of they've been dropped. I think going forward, if we're signing another right winger next year, it'll be more of a case of rotating players. Like if you look at City, if Foden doesn't play 1 week, he doesn't. It's not everybody doesn't jump up and like, he's dropped Foden, he's dropped Grealish. You know, like I think we've got to get a bit more like that. If you're getting a right winger, very much could be. You could rotate 4 players and not really get a drop off from any of them. Really, if somebody's out of form, you bring Barnes in, or you bring Gordon in, or Murphy, or whoever you've got on the right. We're not far off being a really, really top team. Well, we already are a top team, to be fair, and it is already something special. But I don't think we're a million miles off next year from really kicking on.
You mentioned a couple of players that always look like they're going to score every time they get the ball or do something with it there, Ben. But Matty, I'm going to come to you because there's another player, the player that gets our next goal, now our fourth goal, Fabian Schar, who once again tried to score from his own half. I may add, it was just inside their half. It was, to be fair. The keeper was well off his line. He tries to take a shot earlier on in the game. He's trying it again. But it's another. You mentioned it earlier, Matty. Hence why I came to you. But it's another great ball from Jacob Murphy. Well, it's a nice set piece, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because Trips just rolls it back slightly to Jacob Murphy, and Murphy just whips that one in from the right hand side. It's a great header from Isak. Not Isak, there from Fabian Schar. I'm jumping all out. The goals. We've had 9 goals in 2 games. I'm all out of this shot from Fabian.
But yes, Fabian Schar. I mean, what can we say about Fabian Schar? I mean, yeah, again, little layoff to Murphy. Just made that right bit of angle, but he just strode onto it and whipped it in. It's one of those ones where it was like that Anthony Gordon cross for Isak. It's almost like as soon as against Arsenal, as soon as they hit it, you think someone's there and that's going in. Like you're up off your seat already. But it's a nice little near post header. Good little set piece. But yeah, if we're going to give Jacob Murphy some flowers today, let's give Fabian Schar some as well, because man, what a guy. I think he's probably one of my favourites. He's like Dream 11 for Newcastle. He's centre half now.
Dreamy 11.
Yeah, Dreamy 11 as well. The 11 of my dreams. 11 Fabian Schars. Yeah, like he's just undeniable now. To think that a certain legendary 1,050 games manager nearly tried to sell him, and now he's pushed on and literally wrote himself into history books as being we talked about reflect on Jacob Murphy. I don't see anyone reflecting on Fabian Schar and saying he was bad. He's been absolutely fantastic. 17 goals he scored for Newcastle now. I'd love to know. He must be the highest scoring Newcastle defender now. I'd like to find the stats out on that. But no, absolutely brilliant. Rearguard action, he's been great. But his passing ability, we know when it's on form. It was last night. I think a lot of the times he sort of strode forward, had a little look, was the short ball onto the right back. No, right, I'm switching it. And it's like
was highlighted in the studio when they were covering it at half time and full time again. That to have a player of Fabian Schar's quality and the passing range that he has is an absolute diamond of a player.
What he deserves is his contract extension. Again, just a great player, classy player. Doesn't mind getting into the sort of the dirtiness of the game when he needs to be. Takes lots of blows to the head, or sort of half blows to the head. Sometimes I think did he go down with a head injury last night as well?
There was blood drawn, mate. There was blood drawn. Yeah. Hence why Dan Burn was going off it.
Yeah. Did the Burn get booked for that, by the way? Sorry to jump ahead.
Without hesitation, the referee. Which player was it? Was it?
It was Jefferson Lerma, no?
Lerma, I think.
Right.
I think he was the one getting booed.
Without hesitation, he got booked and Dan Burn was already running towards him. The referee just went, booked. Like, didn't even put it down. Just
I think he was scared. Like, just big 6'6" guy running towards him. He's just putting the card up for protection.
Like, Dan Burn kept on going, though, and arguing his case. And I was like, mate, like, just, we've dodged your ban. So, like, you just get back a little bit. And Trips came over and moved him. But it was a bit of a naughty. It wasn't a red card. It wasn't. No. But it was a naughty one, like.
Yeah, well, there you go. But yeah, again, just to draw a line of it, Fabian Schar, absolutely class. And by this point, even I was thinking, oh well, that's the 3 points in the bag then. And it was party. It sort of felt like party time after that. It was really like you could sense the buzz. And thankfully, there was another goal to come. And
it was.
I think you'll get this one right, Chris.
Was Isak? Well, let's can predict the future. I'll see what's happening at Villa. So yeah, and Isak finally gets on the score sheet. He was getting frustrated earlier on in the game. You mentioned it earlier that he was keep putting his hands on his head and putting his arms in the air. That he just wasn't. It just wasn't his day really last night for finding the back of the net, and he was trying from close range. Then all of a sudden he just goes, well, I'm just going to hit it from outside of the box, and he kills one past the keeper.
I had an unreal angle of that one. Like, it's probably been the only complaint you could have of Isak is sometimes he gets it in those positions and he thinks it's too easy just to score. I'm going to try and skin the entire defense, like thinking like Chelsea away or whatever it was when he tries to do that. But yeah, he had a couple of great chances. That early one that Henderson makes a good save for, and then there's I think one in the second half where he like stabs at one and it's saved, and then he had a similar one against Man United where he kind of just stabs at it. And I think he just thought, the best thing for me to do here is just hit it, and it's an unreal little finesse in the corner. Because I thought he was actually going to take a touch and try and just roll it past him, and he just waltzes onto the ball, whips it bottom corner, and we get to see the whole thumb over the shoulder celebration, the gun celebration. It's like, it's been a while. We've scored so many goals that he's not been involved with. It's mad, really, when every match preview we'd been doing all season was just, yeah, Isak will score, no one else
Well,
will
when you
score.
think about it, we've scored 9 goals in the last 2 games, and he's got 1. Like,
Yeah.
and everybody's thrown him as triple captain in FPL and things like that, and he's got 1 goal in that. Which I mentioned on Monday night, Andy. It just shows you the talent that we have everywhere on that field. That we've got goals coming from every single position on the field right now.
Yeah, and I think we all just came to expect Isak was going to just bang one in every game. Like, we haven't really talked about him as much as anyone else. Obviously, we've talked about Jacob Murphy at length, but Isak's had such a ridiculous season that he set such a high standard that when he doesn't score for 2 games, we're thinking, oh, Isak's off the boil a bit. Like, imagine being in that position like 10 years ago with our strikers. It's ridiculous. But I mean, it's not like he's been not involved in games. His hold up and everything is brilliant, and you can see he's got that knack of just making centre halves crap themselves every time he's near them. They're always looking over the shoulder. They're always dropping back. He offers you that threat where when teams really try and push up against us, he can run down the line. He can run straight through from behind. And you've got Fabian Schar who can ping them long to him. Murphy who can ping them long. And Tonali was finding loads of nice little pockets in the number 10 spot. And, similar to the Man United game, them two linking up, whereas Tonali being a bit deeper before. So yeah, there's just the depth everywhere is just class, and I'm just so excited for next season. If we get in the Champions League and we potentially have a war chest to buy players, like, imagine having the team we've got now and then a bench that's equally
I don't want
good.
the season to end, Andy. Like,
No,
I'm at the point now where I just want
the
the
best
season
season
to
of my life.
Andy, let's not get too excited, all right?
About what?
I'm only
I
joking.
was gonna say.
Can I just say as well, we talked
mhm.
about penalties earlier for obvious reasons.
Yes.
That's how good Isak is. That felt like a penalty to me for him. So, like, for him to be running on center of the box just outside the D, and I was like, he's going to score. Like, I'm very confident he's going to score.
Backing him, yeah.
And he's just putting it in either corner. And you've seen him in like training videos and stuff like that. He's a lethal finisher, and obviously he's 25 goals again, which is unbelievable this season. But like, just the way he strode onto it was absolutely class. It was as if he was taking a penalty, but twice the distance.
So he's now joint second goal scorer in the Premier League for this campaign. It's him and Haaland. That's on 21 goals. Salah's a big jump away mine on 27. Can he get it? Can he get another 6? Anyone can jump in at this point.
I think getting another 6 to whether Salah gets any more himself. Like, he could have had 6 last night, to be fair. Like, the amount of chances he got himself into, he could have been right behind him, to be fair. But I don't know. I think you'll get another 6 goals this season, definitely. Especially Ipswich at home, and if he stays fit, you'll get another 6. It's just whether Salah or not gets a few more himself. If he kicks on the tour, I think he'll finish at a Holland, put it that way.
Just 6 against Ipswich. That's what he's getting at.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I'm gonna stick with you, Ben, because there's one player that we haven't really mentioned in much detail here, and I think it's probably a good place to end it. Matty, you asked me the question last week. I'm sure it was you that asked me the question if Sandro Tonali would be in my greatest Newcastle United 11 ever. 100% he would, mate. Because Ben, I'm going to come to you, and he was once again last night absolutely phenomenal. He covers every single inch of grass at St James's Park, everywhere on the field.
Yeah, he's just a Ferrari, isn't he? His engine's unbelievable. Like, I was watching him last night, and his attitude and everything, like, when the game's gone, he's still pressing and chasing players like 40, 50 yards. He's so quick as well. Like, I'd love to see him in a race with likes of Gordon and stuff up there, because he must be right up there. He's just deceptively quick. Like, he covers so much ground. The amount of, you look at him as well, like, he gets us out of so much trouble at times. He reads the game so well. The amount of times he nicks the ball back and we just recycle possession and we'll go again. Things that probably Bruno wasn't great at, he's really good at. He's great on the ball as well. He can hit a 50-yard pass, but equally knows when to play like a 2 or 3 yard pass as well. I generally believe he's probably up there in the top 3, like number 6s in world football. Like, I really do. I think I read somewhere, like, somebody was talking about that Belaber at Brighton being worth 120 million in the summer and stuff. If he's worth 120 million, I don't know how much Tonali must be worth. Like, he's been outstanding this year. Like, since he's come back into the team and went as number 6, our season's totally changed. Like, everything about the team's changed. I think he's up there with Isak as importance for us. He's the best midfielder that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I've seen Robert Lee, and you talk about Batties, Cabayes, even like Bruno, who we've got now, is different class. I just think he's like a different level. Like, he's probably Italy's best player, and then you've got Barella, who we obviously were linked with. Like, he's amazing. Like, he's top draw player, and he seems really happy as well. Like, everything that you read about him, everything he's saying, like, he's settled, his missus are settled. It's all just really positive, really. I was trying to think last night when we went up 5-0 up, and it's hard sometimes when you're in the moment of things, but like, to appreciate how good some of these players are that we've got. Because I look at that team yesterday, and you've got Dan Burns playing for England at centre half. You've got Tonali, world class like midfielder. Bruno and Joe Linton play for Brazil. Like, we've just got so many. Isak's probably the best striker in the world. You've got 3 wingers who are on fire. They're all like top elite level players. So much to look forward to. It's like, it is like Andy was saying, it's like so exciting with the direction the club's going. We've got probably one of the best managers in the league as well.
There's 2 managers. There's 2 managers now, mate.
2 managers, yeah. Sorry, managers. I said that there, didn't I? Actually, sorry, manager. Yeah, well, yeah. Actually, to be fair, I thought Tyndall did really well. But yeah, like, it's just a lot to look forward to. One funny moment, I don't know if any of you saw, actually a bit off point here, but did you see when Joe Linton got the call to go off? He was absolutely
He was spitting feathers.
He was fuming. He was not happy when Tyndall talked him off. Obviously, it was a common sense thing to do, because one more foul and he was going straight in the book. He had made a couple of challenges as well where, like, do you know, normally a player makes a challenge and then just carry on with the game. He made a couple where he didn't continue. He made sure the player was all right that he had just challenged. Yeah. Trying to con the referee a little bit into not booking him. I saw it. Yeah, he wasn't happy about that, but it's just, do you know what it is? It's just a good professionals mentality, that by thinking I don't want to go off that. Like, I want to continue because everybody's playing well. The team around us is doing fantastic, and you wouldn't want to leave the field. Of course, you wouldn't. But yeah, it was wise by Jason Tyndall. I was shocked to see Joe Linton come out for the second half. To be fair, that were 4-0 up. I was honestly expecting them to bring somebody like Mile or Sean Longstaff on. But yeah, I'm gonna end it there because we've been going for 40 minutes, boys. Unless any of you 3 have anything that you want to add in regards to what happened. Obviously, we'll talk about the league table a tiny bit just before we go. So Newcastle United currently sat in 3rd. And we are chasing down 2nd, Matthew.
Oh,
get in. It's ours for the taking.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I feel.
So I did look at something because I think this was put on Sky Sports after the game last night. It was a race for Champions League, and I'm not going to go through the fixtures because that'll take too long. But if you're looking at the teams between Newcastle, Forest, Man City, Chelsea, and Villa, all in that race for finishing in a Champions League place. Our percentage, so successful percentage for qualifying for Champions League, is the highest out of all of them. Okay, so we are 91.9% expected to get that Champions League spot. Whereas you go down to Chelsea, who are sat in fact, no, it's not. It's Villa that are sat on 26.4%. So the bookies are backing Newcastle as well at this moment in time.
It's class, isn't it? Just feeling glad all over.
Tempting to play it, isn't it? Yeah.
The good thing about it is that all of the teams have all got to play each other as well. So that could probably go down to the last game of the season, really, in regards to the Champions League spot. Because I think Villa played Chelsea last game of the season as well. So it's
Chelsea. Is it Forest Chelsea last game? I think. And Villa,
I can't remember. It might be actually to be fair, mate. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's Forest Chelsea last game of the season. Chelsea at home. But yeah, I think fingers crossed we'll have that done and dusted by then, and the points will already be on the board. Those that are listening to the audio, Matty is quivering right now.
No, but like I echo everything everyone's been saying. It's absolutely class. It's unreal. It's alien to us. I know it's only been 3 seasons since we got took over, 3 and a bit seasons. Or if you want to take the bit of the first one and then the bit of this one, I guess that's 3 fractions, maths. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, like it's absolutely unreal. I've said all the superlatives. It literally could bring a man to tears about how happy I have been with Newcastle this season. I already have shed tears on that fateful day in March, which I'll remember for the rest of my life. And hopefully there's many more to come. It's just, yeah, like it's because it's there. The carrot is well and truly in our faces. And it's like, could we literally go on from making history 70 years without a domestic trophy? And then, oh yeah, and by the way, he qualified for the Champions League quite comfortably, actually.
In second place.
And have the best striker, the best midfielder, and just the best squad ever.
That's why I start getting twitchy and a bit nervy, because it's just like, it would be so bloody nice. And it's there for, like Andy said, for us to take. It's just, you know, we're used to Newcastling in a way that, you know.
Well, I mean, our manager has nearly died, so like there's still that side of it.
Someone at my work said, I'm starting to worry that like Tyndall poisoned Eddie Howe, and it's like a man.
Definitely changing all the locks on the trading ground.
Like
It's like Macbeth.
Sith, yeah, Macbeth, Sith, Star Wars. The apprentice becomes the master type of thing, and next thing you know, you'll have a golden throne.
Well,
and
he's been waiting 20 years to make his move.
Yeah.
He's just putting his own face on all the photos, just sticking them on.
Yeah, photoshopping all the old dressing room photos and that.
But the last thing I will say, of course, is get well soon, Eddie Howe. We can't wait to have you back.
Yeah,
Of course. Right, that's us done. Thanks, boys. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a nice little session, this one, hasn't it? It's always great. Speaking about Newcastle United victory, especially when it's back-to-back. And fingers crossed there'll be another one coming up there at the weekend. It's going to be another tough test, this one against Aston Villa. Villa away. Villa have just obviously gone out of the Champions League, so they'll have a bit of a point to prove, you would imagine. But fingers crossed. Matty, I think you're back for the match preview. Yes. I think I'll be joining you as well, and I think Dasmo's there. So yeah, we'll be back with that. Plenty more stuff to come your way, everybody, as well. Just like the video, it's all but ask if you do want to become a subscriber. Costs you nothing to do that, and if you would like to give an extra bit back, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member, and you get early access to videos, extra video content as well, and access to the Telegram group, which is full of Newcastle United fans too. If you listen to the audio, just give us a 5-star review. It means a lot to us, and we shall see you next time. Watch what he's doing, everybody. Bye. Champions League, Matty. Champions League.
Yep.